January 17, 1991, 02:50. Two squadrons of F-117A Nighthawks led by U.S. Air Force Colonel Ralph Getchell knifed through the pitch-black skies of Iraq heading north. Their flight began at midnight in the southern tip of Saudi Arabia, 900 nautical miles away. There, the stealth fighter is known as Shabah, the Saudi word for ghost. Flying in strict radio silence, the black jets enter the airspace over one of the most heavily defended cities in the world, Baghdad. Their goal is to attack key centers in the Iraqi air defense system. The F-117's unique shape, which features no perpendicular angles, is covered with radar-absorbent material, or RAM, rendering detection by enemy radar extremely difficult, if not impossible. Shrouded in secrecy for years, the aircraft, also known as the Wobbling Goblin, has previously been the subject of controversy and doubt. Critics have called it a symbol of wasteful defense spending. But the war in the Gulf will give the F-117 pilots the opportunity to prove the critics wrong. Following the stealth fighters into the skies to deliver the first blows of Operation Desert Storm are over 600 aircraft, components of a multi-service, multinational air force totaling over 4,000 fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. Despite these overwhelming numbers, there are major questions concerning the ability of Operation Desert Storm to achieve success. Not since World War II, nearly half a century before, has an international air force of such size and complexity been used in combat. Could the multitude of Allied planes be coordinated together to work effectively in battle? Would advanced aircraft, like the F-117 Stealth, the F-15E Strike Eagle, and the British Tornado perform as expected in actual air war? And would the untested pilots be able to accomplish their complex and demanding missions? Other problems and unknowns run the gamut, from the effect of desert sand on electronic equipment to cultural differences between the coalition partners. For example, conservative Saudis are shocked to see female officers not only working alongside men, but giving orders. And in a society that does not allow females to drive, the sight of women like Major Marie T. Rossi in the driver's seat of a Chinook helicopter is especially shocking. But most importantly, could the coalition air forces defeat the powerful Iraqi Air Armada, the sixth largest air force in the world, which includes 730 frontline Soviet, French, and Chinese aircraft? And once that is done, can they neutralize the massive Iraqi ground forces, clearing the way for the ultimate Allied victory? The Iraqi army is the fourth largest in the world. Not only does it possess thousands of the best Russian tanks and artillery pieces money can buy, but it also has been battle-hardened by 8 years of war with Iran. In contrast, America's component of the coalition ground and air forces have not seen any significant action since the Vietnam War, nearly 20 years before. Many American planners expect a bloody war of attrition. In fact, during the build-up, over 15,000 body bags are shipped to the region in anticipation of the grim cargo that they think will result from Desert Storm. Coalition air forces are being counted on to prove these doomsayers wrong by taking the punch out of the Iraqi army before Allied ground forces are committed to battle. For air power to bear the brunt of defeating a modern ground army is a goal unprecedented in the history of warfare. Never before has so much been expected from an air force or the commanders who lead it. It is a massive responsibility. These men and women are the key to victory in the Gulf, and they know it. If they are successful, they will save thousands of Allied lives on the ground. If they fail, the war could be lost. The formidable capabilities of the Iraqi threat were brutally demonstrated 5.5 months before, on August 2nd, 1990, when some 100,000 Iraqi troops and 300 tanks, under the overall command of Iraqi strongman Saddam Hussein, invaded Kuwait. Kuwait's entire population numbers less than Iraq's armed forces, but its huge oil reserves and its proximity to the Arabian Peninsula, where over half the world's oil supply lies, makes it one of the most strategically important nations on Earth. World response was swift. Within hours, the United Nations passed Resolution 660, condemning the invasion and demanding the immediate withdrawal of Iraqi forces from Kuwait. As diplomatic overtures failed in the coming months, more resolutions followed, culminating in Resolution 678, which authorized states to use all necessary means against Iraq unless Saddam Hussein withdrew his forces from Kuwait by January 15, 1991. But in order to expel Saddam from Kuwait, it was first necessary for coalition forces to get there. Moving such a huge volume of men and equipment to the area in the space of a few months was an unparalleled feat of logistics. For many U.S. pilots, it meant deploying halfway around the world to a dangerous and unfamiliar area where a shooting war could break out at any moment. When one squadron of U.S. Air Force F-15C Eagles left for Saudi Arabia, the situation in the Gulf was so volatile that the pilots were ordered to be prepared to fight their way in. They arrived at the Dhahran Air Base unchallenged, but tensions remained high. A sarcastic crew chief greeted them by saying, "Welcome to Saudi Arabia. You're all going to be hostages in 3 hours." No one laughed. The F-15's non-stop flight to Saudi Arabia had taken over 14 hours and required between 7 and 9 aerial refuelings. But that wasn't even close to being the longest or most difficult deployment to the Gulf. One Marine Harrier squadron was stationed in Japan when the crisis began. For logistic reasons, it was necessary for the squadron to travel eastward to Saudi Arabia, using in-flight refueling and stops at Wake Island, Hawaii, Arizona, North Carolina, and Spain, before arriving on their carriers in the Persian Gulf 2 weeks later. The British took a more direct approach, dispatching 12 Panavia Tornadoes to Saudi Arabia from bases in Cyprus on August 9th, just 7 days after the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait. By January 14th, RAF forces included 50 of these sophisticated aircraft in both their air-to-air and attack versions. But it would take more than a massive buildup of forces to defeat the powerful Iraqi military machine that faced the Allies. Tactical innovation and flexibility based on the hard-learned lessons of the past would also be required. And shortly after New Year's Day, with the coalition deployment nearly complete, the air commanders of Operation Desert Storm took steps to achieve just this type of tactical flexibility.
The leadership, basically a week prior to the conflict, was
Так что командование за неделю до конфликта сказало нам: ребята, мы не собираемся учить вас, как летать на своих самолетах. Так что применяйте свою собственную тактику, разрабатывайте свои планы и действуйте. Это было удивительно.
The mistakes of the Vietnam War, where air targets were chosen by planners in Washington who were thousands of miles away from the battlefield, would not be repeated. Steps like this helped to instill a spirit of overwhelming confidence in the pilots who took to the air to strike the first blows of Desert Storm, even though most of them would be facing combat for the first time. Yet Lieutenant Colonel J.D. Collins, who had been in the Air Force for 16 years before flying his first sortie into Iraq, said that all pilots had one emotion in common: fear.
The very first time, if anyone ever tells you that they were not scared and not telling you the truth, everyone was scared.
Once the first bombs begin to fall, the formidable Soviet-supplied Iraqi air defense system springs to life, attempting to trap coalition strike packages in boxes of flak and throwing up curtains of death around their air bases. Television broadcasts show a surreal scene unfolding in the night skies over Iraq, millions of tracer fire, flak, and exploding surface-to-air missiles. Colonel Ralph Getchell's 2 squadrons of F-117s are the first coalition planes over Baghdad. They run the gauntlet of fire to deliver devastating blows to Iraqi Air Defense Command Center.
по командным центрам
Targets like
противовоздушной
these are a
обороны Ирака.
primary objective during the opening phase of the air
Такого рода
attack.
цели являются главными
Like its Soviet
целями
model,
в начальной
the
фазе
highly
военной
centralized
операции.
Iraqi Air Force depends on its command centers and radar stations for everything, from identification and location of enemy formations to permission to attack.
Именно они дают разрешение
Their
на атаку.
destruction effectively renders
Нанеся удары
Iraqi
по
fighters
командным
hamstrung
центрам
and
можно
blinded,
практически
making
ослепить
the Iraqi Air
авиацию
Force much
Ирака.
easier to defeat in the
После
air than
этого
it
не
would have
так
been
уж сложно
otherwise.
будет расправиться с ней в воздухе.
Getchell's mission is a spectacular
Гетчелу
success,
удалось добиться полного
and
успеха.
amazingly, every single one of his
Удивительно, но
squadron
каждый
stealth
из
fighters
самолетов
returned
его
safely to their
эскадрильи
base in Saudi
вернулся на
Arabia.
базу в Саудовской Аравии.
The plane the Saudis call Ghost
Самолет,
has
который арабы
performed
называли
flawlessly its
призраком,
first time in
повел себя
combat.
идеально в бою.
It is a pattern that would be repeated over and over again
Это
throughout the Gulf
повторялось еще
War.
неоднократно на протяжении боевых действий в
Despite the
Персидском заливе.
high-risk nature of the missions the
Несмотря на рискованные
F-117s are
задачи, которые
assigned,
ставились перед
not a
самолетами
single one will be hit by
F-117,
anti-aircraft fire or missiles
союзники не
during the
потеряли ни
entire
одной такой
conflict.
машины за весь конфликт.
Not all Allied airmen
Но
are as
везло
lucky.
далеко не всем.
In the early morning hours of
Рано утром
January
18
18th,
января 4
4 British
британских
ground attack
штурмовика
tornadoes took
«Торнадо»
off to attack an air base
взлетели для
deep
того, чтобы
inside
нанести
Iraq.
удар по базе ВВС
To
в
avoid
глубине
detection by
Ирака.
Iraqi
Для того, чтобы
radar,
избежать обнаружения
they swoop in at
иракскими радарами,
550 knots, barely
они
200
летели
feet above the
невысоко над
ground.
землей.
After a harrowing
После
one-hour
часового
flight,
перелета
the
торнадо
tornadoes
выстраиваются
line
в
up on the
воздухе для
enemy
того, чтобы
runway.
нанести удар по
Iraqi
взлетно-посадочной
anti-aircraft fire is
полосе.
intense, but the
Путин
British
наступает
pilots must
противовоздушная
fly
оборона
straight and
Ирака.
level for
Однако
optimum
британские
delivery
летчики
of their
должны
runway
сохранять курс
cratering
для того, чтобы
bombs.
правильно произвести
The
бомбометание.
attacks are effective,
Атака
blasting
эффективна.
holes in the concrete runways that put the
Аэродром
air bases
временно
temporarily
выведен
out
из
of
строя.
action. Somewhere over the target,
Однако где-то
however,
над целью сбит один
tornado
из
number
самолетов «Торнадо»
CA-392
под
takes a
номером
direct hit from Iraqi flag.
ZA-392.
It crashes into the
Он
desert
падает в
floor.
пустыне.
Both the pilot and
Пилот и
navigator are
штурман
killed.
погибают.
During the first 48 hours of
За
Desert
первые
Storm,
48 часов
a total
операции
of
«Буря
8
в
coalition
пустыне»
aircraft were lost.
партнеры по коалиции потеряли 8 боевых самолетов.
Lieutenant Commander Mike
Первой
Speaker
жертвой
had become the
стал
coalition's
лейтенант
first
Майк
combat
Спейкер.
fatality when his FA-18
Его
was shot
самолет
down during a raid on an
A-18 был
airbase
сбит
in
во
western
время рейда
Iraq.
против базы ВВС на западе Ирака.
An A-6E intruder from the same carrier wing was also shot down during the raid.
С того
And
же
pilot
авианосца
Robert
был
Wetzel
также
and
сбит во
bombardier
время этого
navigator
рейда.
Jeffrey Zahn were taken
Пилот
prisoner.
Роберт Ветцел
By
и
January
штурман
18th,
Джеффри Заун
4
были
other
взяты в
Allied
плен.
crewmen had been
18
killed and 4
января
more
было
were taken
сбито
prisoner.
еще 4 летчика
Still,
и 4 захвачены в плен.
considering the huge number of missions,
Тем не менее,
the
учитывая
losses were
огромное количество
remarkably low.
вылетов, потери были
Over
исключительно
4,000 sorties
низкие.
had been flown,
Было
with
произведено
devastating effect
около
on the
4
Iraqi
тысяч
war
вылетов.
machine.
По иракской военной машине удалось нанести сокрушительный удар.
With the Iraqi command and control network crippled,
Командная сеть
coalition fighter
иракской
pilots
армии была
quickly
практически
seized the initiative in the
уничтожена, и
air.
пилоты коалиции быстро захватили инициативу в воздухе.
Their goal, to
Их
gain
цель
air
–
superiority
добиться
by
преимущества
defeating
в
the Iraqi
воздухе,
Air Force.
нанеся поражение иракской
Once this is
авиации.
accomplished,
Как только этой цели
Allied air
удастся
power can
добиться,
concentrate on
они могут
attacking Iraqi
сконцентрировать свое
ground
внимание
forces.
на уничтожении наземных войск Ирака.
0320 hours.
3:20.
An AWACS
Самолет раннего
aircraft spots an
предупреждения
enemy plane
АВАКС
or
замечает
bandit heading
вражескую
toward a
машину,
formation
которая
of Allied
устремляется
planes.
к самолетам союзников.
An F-15 flying combat air patrol or
осуществляющий
CAP locks on
боевое
the
воздушное
bogey,
патрулирование,
a Mirage F-1, and
фиксирует
fires a
противника, которым
radar-guided
оказался
AIM-7
самолет
Sparrow missile at
Mirage
12
F1 и
nautical
выпускает
miles.
ракету AIM-7
The missile
Sparrow
hits the
с
Mirage
расстояния
4 miles
12
off the
морских миль.
F-15's nose. The pilot steers his
Ракета
F-15
сбивает
back to his
«Мираж»
cap
на расстоянии
position,
4 миль от F-15.
ready for more action.
Пилот возвращается на первоначальную позицию, он готов продолжать
Even though the
патрулирование.
F-15 was developed in the
Хотя
1970s, nearly
F-15 были
20 years
разработаны
before
еще
the
в
Gulf
70-х
War,
годах, за
its
20
lethal
лет
blend
до
of
войны в
speed,
Персидском заливе,
maneuverability,
уникальное
and
сочетание
sophisticated
высокой скорости
electronics
маневренности
have
и
proven
сложного
once again
электронного вооружения
that it is the premier
вновь
air
доказали, что этот
superiority
самолет
fighter of
является
its era.
лучшим истребителем своего времени.
Meanwhile, two F-A-18
временем,
Hornets from a
две
U.S.
машины
carrier in the Gulf are heading
FA-18
for an air
Hornet
base in western
с
Iraq.
американского авианосца в Персидском заливе
Each of these planes, which
направляются
combine
к
the
базам ВВС на
capabilities of a
территории
strike
западного
aircraft and a
Ирака.
fighter,
Каждый из этих
carry
самолетов
four
сочетает в себе
2,000-pound bombs.
способности штурмовика и истребителя.
Suddenly, an E-2 Hawkeye radar warning aircraft calls abandoned alert. Two Iraqi MiG-21s were approaching nose-on at nearly 1,000 miles per hour. The F-18 pilots have only to flick a switch to shift the electronics in their plane from the bomber mode to the fighter mode. This amazing flexibility makes the F-18 one of the most versatile warplanes in the U.S. arsenal. But will it work in air-to-air combat?
Как все получится на самом деле в бою?
Each of the F-18 radars locks on one of the MiGs.
фиксирует свою цель.
Their missiles flash into the sky.
Ракеты несутся в небе.
Splash. Two MiGs.
Уничтожены.
Afterwards, the planes continue on
После
to their
этого они
target
продолжают полет к своей цели, сбрасывают бомбы и возвращаются на свой
and
авианосец.
return safely to their carrier. In addition to hitting the Iraqi Air Force, the initial airstrikes of Desert Storm also concentrate on Iraq's strategic attack capabilities, including nuclear, chemical, and biological production facilities, and Scud missile launching and storage sites. Leading the strikes of these facilities are precision strike aircraft, F-117s,
F-117,
F-15E Strike Eagles,
Eagle,
F-111 fighter bombers,
бомбардировщики F-111,
A-6 intruders,
А-6 интрудеры
and tornadoes.
и торнадо.
Formations of attack
Эскадрильи
planes,
этих
called
самолетов
strike
поддерживали
packages,
другие
are
машины.
supported by
Они
aircraft providing
обеспечивали
fighter escort,
прикрытие,
defense suppression,
подавление огня противника,
command and control,
командование и управление,
jamming,
глушение
and aerial
и
refueling.
дозаправку в воздухе.
The near seamless coordination of the international air
международных
forces
военно-воздушных
from the
сил
United
из
States,
Соединенных
Saudi
Штатов,
Arabia,
Саудовской Аравии,
Great
Великобритании,
Britain,
Франции, Италии,
France,
Канады,
Italy, Canada,
Кувейта и Бахрейна
Kuwait, and Bahrain becomes one of the hallmarks of the
стала одной
coalition
из
offensive.
отличительных черт
The
наступления
teamwork begins in
коалиции.
the Black Hole, the basement headquarters of
Планирование и
Central Air
координация
Forces,
воздушных ударов
CENTAF, in
осуществлялись в так
Riyadh,
называемой
where
черной
all
дыре,
airstrikes are planned and coordinated by an international team, led
находящейся
by
в
U.S.
Риаде.
Air Force Lieutenant
Всем
General
этим
Charles
руководил
Horner.
генерал-лейтенант американской авиации
Horner, the
Чарльз
overall air
Хорнер.
commander or air boss for the
На
whole
Хорнере,
theater,
который
has a
руководил
unique
всеми
set of
действиями авиации
responsibilities.
во время операции «Буря в
Never
пустыне»,
before has
лежала
one
огромная
officer been in complete
ответственность.
charge of all air
Никогда
operations
еще
for an allied
руководство
force.
действиями такой мощной коалиции
This
не
unity of
находилось в
command
одних
is one of the
руках.
factors that allows the coalition air
Однако именно это
forces to
единственное
achieve such an
руководство позволяло
unprecedented
добиться
level of
максимальной
cohesion during the Gulf
связности и
War.
координации действий.
In a typical strike on an Iraqi airfield,
Типичный удар по
Saudi
иракскому
tornado strike
аэродрому.
aircraft are escorted by
Торнадо
U.S. Air
Саудовской
Force
Аравии
F-15s
сопровождаются
with
американскими
electronic countermeasures
F-15.
provided by U.S. Navy
Электронное
EA-6E Prowlers.
обеспечение дают самолеты американского флота и А-6Е «Праулер».
Assessing the results of the
Оценивая
strike, General
результаты
Horner
операции,
said,
генерал Хорнер
"We couldn't
сказал,
have taken a pickup
даже
truck
если
and
бы мы
laid those
выбрасывали
bombs more
бомбы из
accurately."
грузовика, то не могли бы сделать это точнее.
Within 1 week, General
Через
Colin
неделю генерал
Powell,
Колин
chairman of the
Пауэлл,
U.S. Joint
председатель
Chiefs of
комитета
Staff,
начальников штабов,
is able to announce that the coalition air force rules the skies over Iraq.
царит в воздухе над
However,
Ираком.
Allied aircraft that continue to pound the
Однако
Iraqi war
по-прежнему
machine
сохранял серьезную
still face a
угрозу
tremendous
от
threat from
зенитных
unguided
установок и
anti-aircraft
ракет
fire and
земля-воздух.
surface-to-air missiles. The task of protecting coalition strike planes from the threat of surface-to-air missiles or SAMs falls to a variety of so-called defense suppression aircraft. One of the most effective of
Одним из
these
наиболее эффективных
is
таких
the
самолетов
so-called wild
был
weasel.
так называемый «дикий горностай».
Jake and Bank Climb and drop, roll inverted, pull down, roll back out, then climb to reverse direction. These are survival tactics described by a wild weasel, a pilot who's responsible for protecting strike aircraft from SAMs. Every weasel must be well versed in these maneuvers because daring SAM operators to fire his airplane is part of his job. When a SAM is fired, the wild weasel uses a high-speed anti-radiation missile or HARM to trace the SAM's guidance signal back to the SAM site to destroy the radar antenna. These tactics originated in Vietnam. Suitably, the Air Force relies on a Vietnam veteran for the job, the F-4G Phantom. Like many other aspects of a war some call the technology war, weaseling demands a high degree of skill and steel nerves. One weasel pilot calls it the ultimate game of chicken. The weasels are incredibly successful at suppressing Iraqi SAM sites. By the end of the war, Iraqi SAM operators will refuse to turn on their radars at all, knowing that to do so means almost certain destruction at the hands of the wild weasels.
Break your lock in.
With air superiority all but achieved, and the threat of SAM sites reduced by the wild weasels, Allied strike planes are now able to concentrate almost completely on smashing Iraqi ground targets. One of the most revolutionary and highly effective methods used to achieve this goal is the large-scale employment of precision-guided munitions. These weapons allow the coalition air forces to deliver bombs with incredible accuracy, putting fewer airmen at risk and greatly reducing civilian casualties. Conventional bombs are converted to so-called smart bombs by fitting a seeker head to the nose of the weapon and adjustable fins to the back. The seeker detects the reflected laser energy focused on the target by the strike aircraft, then steers the bomb to the target by adjusting its fins. Infrared sensors also allow Allied aircraft to attack day or night. Specialized laser-guided bombs with hardened steel casings designed for maximum penetration are used on the supposedly impregnable aircraft shelters and the hardened underground bunkers of the Iraqi military command. But as smart bombs increase the efficiency of air war, they also bring the war into much sharper focus for those who execute it. The pilot or weapons system officer viewing a target on infrared display knows the bomb he drops will almost certainly destroy that target. He's a far cry from the B-17 bombardier of World War II. Targets that required 100 sorties to destroy during that war can now be destroyed in a single mission. One weapons system officer said, "I looked at the target on the screen and I saw these figures running, human beings. I pickled the bomb off, a GBU-24. Direct hit. I know it's my job, but if I had a choice, I'd just as soon not see the people I drop bombs on."
Но я бы не хотел видеть, как эти люди умирают.
However, for the pilots and crewmen of B-52 Stratofortresses flying in from Britain, Spain, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Diego Garcia, the experience is far different. High-altitude carpet bombing raids on Iraqi troop positions using unguided iron bombs are far more impersonal, since the bombers arrive over their targets too high to be seen or heard from the ground. As this exercise demonstrates, a typical three-ship strike results in a swath of destruction a mile wide and a mile and a half long. But the terror is not confined to the target area. B-52 raids can be heard 100 kilometers away, and ground tremors felt at twice that distance. The psychological effect is immeasurable, and Central Command psychological operations warriors take advantage of this fact. Leaflets are dropped on Iraqi troop positions with a picture of a B-52, stating in Arabic the date and time of the next B-52 attack. By the time the ground offensive begins, many Iraqi soldiers who found themselves on the relatively safe but still nightmarish perimeter of these raids will have lost the will to fight. During the course of the war, coalition air forces manage an average sortie rate of 2,000 per day. In contrast, the Iraqis manage only 55 sorties at their peak, which is by now long past. Unable to blunt the Allied air offensive with conventional means, Saddam Hussein resorts to a desperate tactic, one that reinforces every airman's worst nightmare.
Что вы можете сказать, лейтенант, по поводу агрессии против Ирака? Я думаю, что наши лидеры и наш народ были неправы, атаковав мирное население Ирака.
After his capture, Zorn purposely added to the facial wounds he received during ejection in the hopes that his battered appearance would prevent his captors from putting him on TV. He was wrong.
Он ошибался.
Saddam Hussein was attempting to weaken coalition resolve by using his POWs to trumpet his twisted version of the war to the world. But the international community saw through the Iraqi dictator's cynical effort at media manipulation,
И манипуляция средств массовой информации не удалась.
In spite of the risks, coalition pilots charged with the task of maintaining air supremacy over Iraq continue to scan the skies for worthy opponents. But with the Iraqi Air Force now all but defeated, they find few targets. The Iraqis that do come up to fight pay the ultimate price.
Те иракские самолеты, которые все же поднимаются в воздух, мгновенно сбиваются.
January 26th.
26 января.
3 F-15 pilots of the 58th Tactical Fighter Squadron go up against 3 Iraqi MiG-23 floggers. The F-15s pick up the MiGs at a range of 80 miles as they take off from their base in western Iraq. Immediately, the Americans turn to attack.
Немедленно американцы переходят в атаку.
Go down in flames.
3 мига сбиты.
The same day, 27 Iraqi combat planes managed to get airborne without being shot down and beat a hasty retreat across the border to Iran. In the days ahead, more than 100 will follow suit. This new wrinkle raises questions. Are the Iraqi pilots merely deserting, or has Saddam Hussein worked out a deal with the Iranians, planning to retrieve his aircraft for use in kamikaze-style attacks once the Allied ground offensive begins? The lack of air-to-air targets frustrates many fighter pilots who have trained their whole careers for this moment. Aggressive and cocky by nature, these men who earn nicknames like Boomer and El Kaban have an intense desire to prove themselves in combat. But their frustration is tempered by the knowledge that they have completely driven the Iraqi Air Force from the skies, clearing the way for the next phase of the air campaign. February 1991. The coalition air forces enter the final phase of preparing the battlefield for the ground offensive. Like the swarms of bombers that led the way for the Allied invasion of Europe in World War II, C-130 Hercules transports begin dropping 15,000-pound BLU-82B Big Blue weapons to clear paths through Iraqi minefields. The explosions are so fearsome that British observers mistake them for nuclear bombs. Iraqi troops begin igniting oil wells in Kuwait, plunging the region into a hellish perpetual night. Yet even in the heat of battle, the pilots of Desert Storm are developing new tactics that will make the air campaign even more effective.
You know, first 2 weeks we were going to Baghdad. Then our mission changed from battlefield preparation, where the 4th Squadron became killer scouts. And that role was spending up to 8 hours, 9 hours over in territories spotting their positions and then directing the other fighters in to drop the ordnance. It's like during Vietnam, it's called fast fact.
То же самое было и во время Вьетнамской войны.
It's very effective. It's a few people in the 4th squadron.
Несколько летчиков в особенности в 4-й эскадрилье стали настоящими экспертами. Они мгновенно засекали изменения вражеских позиций, перемещение войск. 22 февраля американский президент Буш выступил с ультиматумом. Если иракские войска не начнут безусловный вывод войск из Кувейта к полудню следующего дня, они будут выведены силой. Саддам ответил на этот ультиматум, выпустив 2 ракеты «Скат» по Саудовской Аравии и Израилю. Наземная война началась.
February 24th.
24 февраля.
The long-awaited ground war starts when Marine AV-8B Harriers and attack helicopters launched from assault carriers begin a series of raids on the Kuwaiti coast, just as the Iraqis suspected they would. The only problem is the attacks are a diversion. The real invasion is far to the west. Unknown to the Iraqis, the coalition commander, General Norman Schwarzkopf, has used a massive covert maneuver to shift the bulk of his ground forces away from the front of the Iraqi defensive line. Instead, they have dashed through miles of barren desert that was thought to be impassable to modern transport vehicles, and are now poised to strike at the Iraqis' unguarded western flank. This is Schwarzkopf's famed Hail Mary play. The operation had begun 2 weeks earlier, when air transports picked up and moved an army that included 250,000 men and a large armored force, 250 miles to the west. The Iraqis, unaware that they have been outflanked, keep their eyes and guns pointed east, toward the Gulf. In the largest helicopter assault of the war, hundreds of helicopters swarm across the border into Kuwait and Iraq. Apache, Cobra, and Kiowa gunships escort more than 100 Black Hawk and Chinook transports, carrying 2,000 men of the 101st Airborne Division, 50 miles inside Iraq.
На расстоянии 50 миль вглубь
One of the pilots shuttling men and equipment back and forth in a CH-47D Chinook helicopter is Major Marie T. Rossi of Fort Stewart, Georgia. Asked how she felt about her job, Rossi acknowledges that it is a dangerous one.
Когда впоследствии ее спросили об этом, Росси признала, работа эта опасная для женщины или для мужчины.
The Marines moved into Kuwait. The thick smoke from 700 oil well fires ignited by the Iraqi troops has reduced visibility to 300 meters with the naked eye. Using their infrared sensors to penetrate the Dante's Inferno, Cobra gunships lead the advance, firing Hellfire-guided missiles that blast Iraqi tanks and strongholds. Day 2 of the ground assault. Captain Eric Salmonson and Lieutenant John Marks are flying their A-10A Thunderbolts over Iraq. Designed purely as a ground attack plane, the beastly-looking A-10 is a sharp contrast to the sleek and sophisticated jets that are the mainstays of Desert Storm. Yet as a tank buster, there is no plane in the world better than the A-10. Spotting an Iraqi armored column, Salmonson and Mark swoop down and destroy 6 Iraqi tanks in 10 minutes using TV-guided Maverick missiles.
Они уничтожают 6 танков, используя ракеты Maverick с телевизионным наведением.
They kill 2 more using their 7-barrel 30mm cannon, which spits out milk bottle-sized rounds made of depleted uranium. Then, after refueling and rearming, Salmonson and Marks are sent out twice more. They destroy another 15 tanks for a record total of 23 in one day. Performances like this help to make the A-10 one of the most important and effective coalition aircraft at blunting the Iraqi ground threat.
Уничтожение наземных войск противника во время войны в Персидском заливе.
the air war supporting the Allied ground offensive continues. Other, less publicized but equally important actions are taking place far behind enemy lines. Some of the most heroic missions are performed by Allied Special Forces teams who slip deep into Iraq to attack command bunkers, sabotage communications lines, and provide the intelligence reports that make Schwarzkopf's Hail Mary play such a resounding success. During the final hours of the invasion, 8 Green Berets on a recon mission near Baghdad find themselves surrounded by 150 Iraqi soldiers. Fortunately, pilots like J.D. Collins are there to come to their aid.
We went up there, we located them. We had about 4 or 5 different flights involved, going back and hitting the tank and going back up, suppressing the enemy fire, and suppressing the troops in contact. And it was very surprising to hear now that your own Americans down there talk to you over the radio and saying, just put the bombs on us, and the cluster bombs. We didn't know at that time that they would have holes and they were hiding and all. So about the 5th trip up, night was falling, and we organized choppers to come in and also other support for guys to come out. So it was really intense, especially to hear finally these 8 guys got on the chopper and were taken out. So it was very rewarding and happy moment to hear some of your own people being taken out.
Soon after coalition ground forces are unleashed, Iraqi forces begin streaming out of Kuwait City, scrambling for their base at Basra with truckloads of looted Kuwaiti goods. The Allies dubbed the enemy's chaotic fighting retreat the Great Bug Out. In a tactic designed to keep continuous pressure on the retreating Iraqis and to force Saddam to capitulate, orbiting E-8 J-Stars aircraft vector 8 fresh airplanes down on the Iraqi columns every 15 minutes. The options open to the Iraqis are few. If they try to go back to Basra, the Air Force will destroy them. If they try to cross the Tigris, the bridges are down. If they try to move south into Kuwait, they will run into coalition forces and the U.S. Marines. Soon the road to Basra is a wasteland of smoking, burning Iraqi army and stolen Kuwaiti vehicles. In the harsh realities of war, Saddam Hussein, having ignored Allied demands for surrender, gave the coalition no choice but to continue its attacks, bringing ultimate destruction down on the heads of its armed forces. American air crews called it a turkey shoot. The Saudis simply called it the highway of doom. February 28th. Barely 4 days after the ground war begins, President Bush announces that it's all over. Kuwait is liberated. Iraq's army is defeated. Our military objectives are met. A ceasefire is to begin at 8 a.m. Baghdad time, exactly 100 hours after the ground war began. In only 39 days, coalition air power pulverized Iraq's air defense system, drove their air force into hiding, devastated their armor, and flattened their chemical and nuclear weapons facilities. During the campaign, an estimated 100,000 Iraqi soldiers had been killed. An equal number had deserted before the ground war began. 85,000 had surrendered. In contrast, coalition losses were blessedly low, less than 500, including 144 American servicemen and 6 women. During the Desert Shield deployment, however, 108 had died in accidents. Tragically, more would die following the ceasefire. These casualties include Major Marie Rossi, whose Chinook helicopter crashed into an unlighted microwave tower during a low-level mission on the night of March 1st, killing all 4 aboard. Major Rossi was the highest-ranking American officer killed in the Gulf. March 4th. Captured Air Force pilot Colonel David Everly steps off a Red Cross plane in Saudi Arabia. Afterwards, he speaks of his most harrowing moment in captivity.
Спускается с самолета Красного Креста в Саудовской Аравии. Он рассказывает о том, что ему пришлось пережить. Я прекрасно понимаю, что пришлось пережить моей семье. Это было самым трудным.
6 days later,
6 дней спустя
Jeffrey Zahn and 22 other newly released POWs receive a joyous hero's welcome at Andrews Air Force Base in the United States. Their ordeal is finally
Наконец-то
over.
испытание их позади.
At the end of March, thousands of cheering men, women, and children craned their necks as the skies over Hampton Roads, Virginia, filled with aircraft. The carrier USF John F. Kennedy was home. To those who had spent the last 7 months flying over the desert, the first American trees that came into view were an especially delightful sight. Almost all appeared to be festooned with yellow ribbons.
Кажется, что все они украшены желтыми лентами. Когда я разговаривал с вами раньше, и вы спросили меня, что мы будем делать в случае войны, я сказал, что мы разобьем противника на голову. Именно так мы и сделали.
The pilots of Desert Storm made history after mounting the largest, swiftest mobilization since World War II. This multi-service, multinational force played a decisive role in achieving an overwhelming victory over a well-defended foe. Never before in any war had air power achieved such a devastating impact on the outcome. It was a campaign planned and coordinated by commanders who had learned from the mistakes of past wars and were determined not to repeat them. Executed by individuals who were well-trained, ready, and dedicated to their country. Pilots from various nations and various creeds joined together to fly under a single banner with a single goal, to restore the freedom of a besieged ally and vanquish a brutal foe. According to the men and women who put their lives on the line, it was a goal that would have been impossible to achieve with military strength alone.
Для достижения такой цели не хватало одной военной мощи. Главное, что нас поддерживали люди дома. Они были настоящими героями, а не мы. Благодаря им Вьетнам не повторился. Нас постоянно поддерживали, слали открытки и посылки. Мы знали, что дома за нас. Я это понимаю. Спасибо. Исполнительные продюсеры Стюарт Б. Реканд и Мишель Фуро. Продюсеры и режиссеры Монт Маркхэм, Адам Фридман. Сценарий Джесс Саптлет и Ли Фалкерсона. Оператор Дэвид Стайнберг. Монтаж Кенна Луберте. Музыка Найджела Холтона.